Hello again, everyone. My name is Erik Sprowls, and I was the series creator and director of Frightening Fridays.
And this is Ben Willis, part-time writer on the show and actor for Cedric. Haven't we seen this before?
Yeah, this is previously on the show.
That's right.
We're fancy.
Yeah.
And this is our next chapter in a series of ongoing commentaries on how we brought the TV series Frightening Fridays to life. And what you're looking at, what's that?
This is Frightening Fridays.
It's Frightening Fridays, yeah. It sounds like Fright Night Friday, which was another show I had done, horror host in the same vein.
That's not right. It's not.
Fright Night Friday. It's Frightening Fridays. And you know what? When Mike has that mask on, who plays the Creepy Reaper, and he gets behind it and he says, "Welcome to Frightening Fridays," it still sounds like you're saying, "Welcome to Fright Night Fridays." It's hard to, sometimes you can't see the distinction between the two titles. And this is previously on the show, what we're looking at the last two episodes. This is our third episode in the series.
A new character, eventually, near the end, at the very end.
Yes, we introduced a new character to the show who stayed on the show till the very end. His name was Damien, who we introduced really as the son of the Creepy Reaper, but then we said he was the nephew of the Creepy Reaper, and I don't know, he's somehow the kid who belongs to the Creepy Reaper.
It's like Uncle Creepy, it's like, Uncle Donald. You get the Huey, Dewey, and Louie type thing running around causing havoc.
Yeah, and then I remember Jeremy, who plays the character.
It's there. I mean, the guy just, has a relative that's somehow, related to this undead character. I mean, it's totally improbable. Hey, it works.
I remember too, and I gotta say, we're saying this now before you even see who the character is, but you'll see it by the end and the rest of the series. Jeremy Mertz, who played the character of Damien, came to me one day and says, "Erik, I can't play this role anymore, man." And I said, "Why?" And he says, "Because everybody thinks I'm gay."
I remember you telling us everyone that.
I remember I said, "Well, Jeremy, you're the one that made the character that way.
Your fault.
I mean, you made him kind of feminine and kind of kid-like," and I said, and it comes across as
innocent, but evil at the same time.
And he comes across as being this gay.
Well, not gay. He's just flighty.
Yeah, and he's like, he's very innocent-like, and the way I said, "You're the one that made this," and he says, "Man, I hate this." He's like, "I hate this shit." So I said, "All right, we'll try to toughen him up." But I think probably around episode 9 or 8 or 9, we had him going out on commando missions, trying to do stuff, and
we had a trio at that point, I think is what we referred to them as.
Yes, the trio. We kind of toughened them up a little bit. But this is the Creepy Reaper show.
That comes later. We won't see.
Yeah, that's a few episodes.
So much later.
That's a few episodes down the pike, I think.
Well, at the end of this episode, we see him. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I thought you meant the trio.
No, yeah. The trio comes much later. But we will see Damien for 10 seconds at the end of the episode here.
Mike was always so proud now that we redid these to DVD. His laugh, we added a reverberation to it. Sounds like he's echoing throughout the castle when he laughs.
I agree. I remember the original. I have one. I think the only thing I have on tape. I used to tape these when they were broadcast. Well, not broadcast. When they were, fed on the local cable access channel. I taped them. I think the only one because I taped them on the same thing just so I could see them, because I worked most Friday nights, and what's the same? Yeah, it was Friday nights that we broadcast this. So of course it's Frightening Friday.
See, right there, you said Frightening Friday so fast, sound like Fright Night Friday, yeah.
Yeah. And the only tape I have of this is the last episode to air, which was the musical, which we'll get to much later. But I agree. I remember listening to this, and this does sound a lot better than what actually aired.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's.
I mean, all these graphics here. I mean, these are. Oh yeah, such a lecher.
I don't know who that woman was, and I actually did an IMDb search on her, and I can't remember what she'd done, but she was only in Dementia 13 and maybe a couple other ones since that. That's our dungeon. We built that. It's over on set Studio C.
Stage doors.
We got really lucky that these stage doors are in the TV studio too.
I mean, we utilize these like I don't think anyone probably ever will again.
Yeah, these are actually real studio doors that were huge. They had to have been 15 feet, maybe
10 feet.
They were pretty damn tall. They were tall. Well, you're right, about 10 or 12 feet tall, and
they're probably weighed a ton each, but they're so well balanced that once you got them moving, it's very actually. We make a big deal about when he opens it, but if you watch it, just go, if he pushes out of the way, it bangs into the edge of the stage in the night there, and I was so proud of that web job I did on there. That was my specialty when I was...
You know what? Somehow, see that light in the upper left corner?
Yeah. What happened to that?
You know, it's funny. I have that in my basement.
You do?
Yeah, I think that you...
Do you still have the bulb? No, I didn't bring the lantern. That bulb, that's mine. The bulb and the cord was mine, and because we had a candle in there, and we were trying to think. Well, we love this lantern. It's got all these colored things. It looks like something to be down there, but we can't, burn candles on set. That's why we had to have that wonderful, little flickering lantern off in the other corner. I said, well, I have this spare, bulb and light switch from an old lamp that I was using in one of my workspaces, and I pulled it down and fed it through. It actually tore apart and had to reconnect everything, but it worked, and it hung there, and we had it all set up to the rest of our lights, which was so nice because that was one of my joys of walking on set when we first got in there, because I love to be the one to go back behind the wall and flick the switch on the power strip that just all these lights.
Oh yeah, the candles. My favorite, I think, was the chandelier that came down with the candles around the circle. I like that a lot too.
We had all the candles at the piano too, which was so nice because we had power running to that, so we had all this these lighting effects surrounding us, which just made for such.
Yeah, it really was a really nice set in terms of money and how we spent it, but it was all done for different reasons.
It looks pretty good, but if you take a good look, you can see how cheap it was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that chair, that chair, the Creepy's throne, if I remember right, that was a spare from the library.
Yeah, it was just a normal chair. We threw something black over.
It's from the mid-'70s, and it's this ugly as sin, IKEA-looking thing that we threw a black cloth over and a couple skulls for armrests, and we stuck a styrofoam tombstone on the back.
Now the flame up above them, I told you before, and we did in the other commentary for episode 2. I liked that a lot. It was moving, and it looked like a real flame. Yeah, but stuff like the piano, that was just laying around the studio. We just kind of decorated it up with, I think it was an animal skin you donated.
Well, it wasn't me. It was that Jeremy? No. It was Ted.
Ted Shudak.
Ted, I think, brought that.
He later becomes a villain on the show.
Yeah, and I think that was his. I don't know if we got that back or not.
I think he did. I know I didn't end up with it.
We tore it down. I think that was one of the last things to go. But I love those skulls are up. You can see the corner of that. I loved working on this when you approached me initially for the show and said, "Can you play something?" We found this piano sitting in the back, and I said, "I have to do this," and because I've always wanted to do it to a piano. And I went out and I bought a box of thumbtacks. And I stuck it on the hammers to make it, which is what you're never supposed to do, but this thing was a piece of crap to begin with. You're never supposed to do it because it destroys the string, but I said, it's not my piano, it's falling apart anyway.
Yeah, I do remember that now.
And I don't know if we used it in a later episode or not. We may have, but I know it's in the first episode you can hear it when it's like dee 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 dee.
It gave more of a harpsichord noise to it?
Like a harpsichord or a honky-tonk piano. They're just thumbtacks on the hammers. Kids, don't try it at home if you have a piano, because one, you probably won't know how to get in there, but two, it'll destroy your strings, but this thing was too far gone to care about anyway. But that was fun.
I always wondered how it sounded like a harpsichord.
Yeah. Thumbtacks right on.
Now, I got to give these two credit, too. We haven't really talked much about them. Christina Crafty, who plays Agent Scully, and Matt Colosimo, who plays Agent Mueller, our parody of The X-Files, started in the second episode. And they stayed all the way till the final episode of the series, the short-lived series that it was. But they did a good job as that, too.
Wonderful, fun time doing the series. I think everyone just had this blast writing it. Oh, the lampshade.
It's funny. You can see the cords coming out at their feet.
We had like I think we had 2 wireless mics to deal with. The rest we had 6 inputs. Oh, I have to mention this light bulb. My father has a prop light bulb somewhere in the basement. If you ever see the old Addams Family, Uncle Fester sticks a light bulb in his mouth and it lights up. That's what this thing is. I searched for the week before we did this. I said, I have to find this because we have to use this for the scene.
I remember, and it just didn't materialize. And I remember at the time when we were doing the old Scooby-Doo, when they walk on and like somebody's acting like they're a lamp and somebody's acting like they're a statue, and when she takes the lamp off, if you would have had that light bulb, it would have been perfect because it would have came on, and I had to add that stupid graphic there, and it didn't really work out the way I wanted it to.
Yep.
Joel did a good job here, I think.
I don't know what he's doing, but he could be the world's greatest mime, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it.
Over his movements, it's crazy. I wish I had the ability to hold myself like that and know what I was looking like too. That's the other thing, because he just hold himself in this ridiculous position and he just freeze.
Yeah, I agree. Joel is one of the actors on the show that he really is special in terms of the, and I tell you what, there are 3 people that worked on the show that I really give credit for. This show probably would never have seen the light of day, and I got to say Joel Stevenson, Jody Reichert, and Kate McCarthy, and I'll tell you why. Jody Reichert and Kate McCarthy later became technical directors on the show, but I wasn't going to do this show in the fall when I first got to the university. I said, no, I'm not going to do this. I said, it's not going to... And we sat down and we talked about it. It was just before Halloween, and they said to me, it was like late at night. We just had a big meeting, and we were all sitting around the studio, and it was me, Joel, and the 2 ladies, and we sat around just BSing, and they said, what are your ideas for the stuff you want to do here? And one of the things I said was this show, and they said, well, Halloween's right around the corner. Why wouldn't you want to do it? Plus Friday the 13th,
Yes.
And I said, well, I don't know. I don't want to step on too many toes, which in retrospect, I think I did. Because I kind of made one of the other professors at the university look like she was moving in slow motion, and because she sat on this chairman of the steering committee that was going to hire me back, I think she...
Blue screen curtain we get behind there.
Yeah.
If you can look carefully and see times when the camera just a little too far offset, you can see either the insulation and chicken wire, which was the walls, which made for pretty nice sound dampening, but just looked like crap.
Well, we were dealing with students too, and they were almost afraid to touch the cameras. I was very surprised when I got there that how little training they had, especially seniors.
Over these 2. A full head and a half taller than him. Oh, it's ridiculous.
I like how she walked into your gut,
Doesn't help that I'm wearing inch-thick heels, on my boots too.
You can be pretty intimidating. You're not a small man, and you tower over, especially.
I was thinner back then, though.
I feel bad for Matt too, because Matt's actually shorter than Christina.
Well, she was wearing heels too. She had some pretty thick heels, so they're about evenly matched, I guess, in height there. But
Oh yeah.
oh God, not this. I'm so glad we dropped this segment later on. We just kind of forgot about it, left it by the wayside. The whole with this coming in with the intent to tell people about the history and trivia about the show. Of course, we got down to some really freaking obscure movies that you just could not find anything worthwhile about.
Yeah, I agree on that. When we were originally we wanted to host movies that were old classic, but I'm thinking of classic monster movies. I'm thinking like Dracula.
Well, if we did those,
Frankenstein
stuff. But we were
Abbott Costello.
Yeah, but if we were doing all these things like Dimension 13,
Carnival of Souls,
which actually I have to say I love that movie.
Did you really?
I watched that. That was which one was that? Carnival of Souls, I think was
the one the girl died in the car accident on the bridge.
I think that was one of the 2 last episodes we did not air. I think that's one of the, and I have those. I have copies of those, and I do love that. Yeah, here's the explanation. This 13. Oh my gosh, it's a new movie because it has the number 13 after it.
It's like, get it? I like the candle here in the foreground. It gives a little bit of depth on the set, and that was a pretty big set, I think.
Jeez, I missed that. Oh well. Blip, 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 blip.
Now, in your research, was that really the first movie that ever used the tease concept in a movie?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember that.
So wait, you made up all this research?
No. I'm saying dude, it was.
Well, with your Cedric,
It was 2 years ago. I had looked at all this stuff 5 minutes before the shot, and I had
the fog machine going crazy in the corner.
God, I hate that sound. It's so obtuse.
So yeah, and some of the new graphics I added in the remastered version.
Nice pictures for the bumps. Specifically, I remember for the original mastered versions of this that went on the air, we had like 3 shots of castles you kept using over and over and over again.
It was pretty bad, but fortunately we were able to remaster things.
What happened?
I like how your story. I like how your story put him to sleep.
I knocked them out with useless trivia. Oh, kids.
I go. They must be cooking.
Matt's laying in a rather.
Is that the cord coming out of my?
Probably. You know what? That's something too that people are going to ask. We ought to explain. The reason that you see cords on the ground going from person to person is they come out of your pants, and if they weren't wireless, they had to have a cord that we could hear you guys.
Because we had, I think, 6 or 8 microphone inputs available, but only 2 wireless microphones. So usually,
that's no problem.
Leah had one of the wireless. Usually, but not always. I mean, there's one of the couple scenes you can see she has this wire sticking out of the back of her dress for some reason. I mean, I was lucky. I had tux pants which have holes in the pockets, so I could run the mic. You can see it right there. You can see the mic in the middle of my vest. I could run the wire down to my pocket. I'd have the lavalier box in my pocket and run the mic cord down through the hole in my pants and out and down my ankle. What was that?
Oh, this is where he's Men in Black flashing him, and he makes them stupid or something, and he hit you instead. And this is a good line that Matt says, "Aren't you the creepy?" Click, and then he flashes him away.
Oh, that staff. He probably couldn't have moved it around like that before. Did we mention that it broke?
No, we haven't got to that point yet in this episode.
No, we didn't get that. Well, when we did.
That's a good look for you.
Oh my gosh, it's an Academy Award worthy acting there.
Now this was the funny thing. We had another show we produced at the studio called it was a sport. And it was the Danny Hale show with Jim Doyle hosted it, who was
the Huskies,
a local celebrity too.
I've worked with him at the radio station here in town. Great guy, but we just had to do this. We just had.
I actually told him about this. What we did. I don't know if he ever did or not, but we played with him a little bit. And
I told him about. I said, Jim, just so you know, we're gonna make you torture. We're gonna make your speeches a torture device on our show. He's like, oh, that's nice.
He was a pretty good.
Yeah, go ahead, do it. Yeah. He's been doing this for probably 30 years. I mean,
no kidding.
Oh yeah, I swear to God. As long as I've lived here, he's done the. Well,
I remember telling him. It was. We were going to tell him. We want to have him stuck on the Danny Hale show with you, and they can't get out. For eternity. And he's like, "What?" And I said, "Just watch it." I don't even know if he ever watched it, but
that was just. I mean, look at that. That's. You can see the number dial. It had like 20 channels, and that was it. See the number dial up at the top. We found that just sitting in the back corner of the studio.
And now what you're seeing right now is actually it working.
I fiddled with it. We got it to turn on. We were kind of hoping that we could rig up some kind of video feed to it. Of course, we didn't have the footage yet from the other guy yet. But that blue is just so perfect. So it's even got the chevron down there. So period from the 50s.
It surprised me whenever I came to Bloomsburg how much history there was in the TV station, but how little they utilized it when I got there. They had this ancient TV in the back and a whole lot of other little stuff, but they never did anything with the TV studio.
Back there. Ever.
I don't know why we even did it. Why did we have that sign? Don't ever touch.
Here's the. See no evil.
See no evil.
Evil. Hear no evil. Of course,
it's like who the first one's gonna break.
And Joel and Igor are just natural idiots, and I've been stupefied. Here's a 2001 theme. Mind switch.
I wish we would have played with this a little bit more in this episode. We could have had this whole the mind switch been an entire episode in itself,
by itself,
and it only lasted a segment or two.
It did, but it was. We labored through this sequence of lines for about 20. It must have been an hour, while you're doing other shots with.
That was the best. Leah was a good sport in that.
Leah pretend to be Joel, pretend to be a woman. I mean, it's like. It's Joel, not Joel.
I still think to this day,
Igor's discovered he's a woman and he's ecstatic.
I still think to this day, Joel didn't understand what we were trying to do. We kind of had told him a couple times what, and he kept changing the dialogue on things, and I don't know if he really ever understood what we were trying to do. That Leah was him and he was you, and you were Leah.
Which is kind of hard to wrap your mind
around
in the first place. It worked out, though.
Now, she's got Igor down pretty well.
She got those mannerisms down perfectly. And he was able to embody Cedric pretty well. Of course.
I would like to have seen you bounce around a little bit more like a Barbie doll.
Oh, here we go. We don't see it here, but you can see it in some of the outtakes. This is the death of the staff here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Gandalf. Not when he, oh, God, that mask. Not when he stamped up, but when he was flipping it around in another take. When he was flipping it around, it somehow
he really cracked it.
He hit his elbow in the middle of it. And of course, that thing is actually 4 segments that are screwed together, but it's all molded plastic. And he just snapped it in half. And it was the loudest, most sickening sound that I think we had heard for it. I'm like, oh my God, you broke it! You broke the freaking staff. So I don't know. We found a broomstick, or we went out and bought a broomstick. And we stuck it in there and maybe cut it, and we stuck it in there between the segments of the thing, and we screwed it together. It was actually stronger than before before he broke it.
Actually, if you watch the blooper reel, you'll see him when he breaks it nice and snap in half. But yeah, everybody loved that staff, and they loved it so much that they loved it right out of the studio. Somebody stole it and walked away with it. And that's the funny thing, too. We were told this, we mentioned this in the other commentary. We never were able to find a replacement. I couldn't find one on the internet. I can't find one now.
Yeah.
And it was a nice one because the skull on that staff would open up and it would talk and laugh and light up.
There's a button that was actually you were supposed to round up your arm and stick it, kind of like the button for the mask, which, by the way, I have a duplicate of. I actually found a duplicate of Creepy's mask. We had to chop that one up to get it to, so he could breathe and speak right. But I have an untouched duplicate of Creepy's mask with working button. So I figured, it might be useful. But that staff had this button right. We jammed it in there, so you can see it here.
Yeah, you can see it a little bit there. You can see how it lights up the eyes and the jaw opens and laughs. Before all these annoying effects that I had made. I needed to do an edit in between the two scenes, and it looked really bad before. And this is, of course, where we introduce Damien.
Hello, Damien!
Hi, Daddy.
It's funny, too, because I remember just looking at that, it's like Jeremy played the character a little gay, And he wondered why. He says, I keep getting called gay everywhere I go. I'm like, dude, you made the character. And he's like, man.
Oh, here we go. They're still on there.
I like how they're still trapped on there and they can't get out. Christina is a good actress. She's all screaming and all freaking out. Look at her hair. She's nuts. I even told her, I said, go crazy. I said, you got to be all trapped and everything. And she's okay. And Jim won't shut up. He just keeps going on and on.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was a wonderful edit job, just taking,
I like how everything just comes to a stop when Matt finds the solution here.
Why don't we just use the exit over there?
We'll just go out the exit. What are we thinking? It's so easy. And that's our commentary for episode 3. This was called A Close Call.
Close Call. That's right, Close Call. I still have the script for this somewhere in Word document form.
Oh, no kidding. I still have some props from the show, scripts, different pictures and stuff. We've got fan mail. People would draw fan pictures of us.
I have the dunce cap. I have the painting from the episode day which also doubled as the bottomless pit sign.
Well, fortunately, I was able to keep a lot of the props in the show. I know some of the people managed to, but... Well, I tell you what, this was a nice commentary, another chapter. If you want to hear more, you can hear it on the next disc.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
So stay tuned.
You're watching BUTV, Bloomsburg University Television, the home of the Huskies.